Welcome into the Skinny Podcast, the weekly potpourri edition. I'm Richard Skinner, Local12.com digital sports columnist and editor with Rick Broering. As always, it's presented by Blake, the attorney Maisel. We got some Bengals to talk about. We've got some college football to talk about. We actually probably have a little bit of college basketball to talk about. No more secret scrimmages. We got our betting segment where I think I killed it. I'm not sure 100%, but I think I killed it. And a portion of the podcast, usually where you can ask me a question on anything. We're doing this at a weird time on a Wednesday night because Rick has some dental work to do tomorrow. I've had the same dental work done, and we've all probably had that, and it's not fun. And so I've tried to talk Rick off the ledge, and I just hope he makes it through this podcast without crying.
Yeah, we'll try to get through it ahead of my big surgery tomorrow. That's terrifying us all. But Skinny, the Bengals game, we were just talking about it before we came on here, feels like it happened about a month ago because of it being on Thursday Night Football and just in this 24-hour news cycle where things move so fast. It's like talking about Joe Flacco's performance in that game seems like it's in the past now, but I guess we kind of go back there. I got a few questions I want to bring up to you about how it all unfolded. Let's start with just the sheer number of balls and stats that Jamar Chase put up in this game, caught in the stats that he put up. How much of this is just doing the obvious and force feeding the best receiver on earth and not being too cute? And how much of this is Joe Flacco getting rid of the ball quickly and defenses perhaps not being quite adjusted yet to the way the Bengals are playing with Flacco back there?
Yeah, I think some of it, too, is the way Pittsburgh decided to cover them. I mean, they did do some double stuff. They did occasional cloud stuff, but they left a lot of one-on-one stuff and thought our guy can match up with your guy, and he can't. And the one time they doubled both wide receivers, Andre Yoshavash runs right down the middle of the field and catches a big pass at a key time in that game. And so I think some of this is – there's a lot of things to it. I think, there's a force feed for Chase to some degree because you know how good he is. I think some of this is just – and I don't want this to be a knock. This is not – there's probably going to be some things that are going to be construed as negative towards Joe Burrow, and that's silly because the guy is an elite talent and no one's going to dispute that. But Joe Burrow's – I've been asked on radio shows, I think we've talked about this. When Joe Burrow's the quarterback, what's the Bengals' identity? The identity is he finds the first open receiver he can get to, and that's where it goes. I think Joe Flacco is more, there's my first read. It's getting out of my hands so fast, and I'm going there with the football. And that happened to be Jamar Chase the other night. I mean, 23 targets is absurd. 16 receptions is absurd. People have griped and complained if Zach Taylor can't scheme Jamar Chase open. I think he can. I think he tries. I think they do. But I do think this is not a knock on Joe Burrow. I think the thing that makes him special is his ability to go, you're not open on my first quick read. Oh, you are, T. Here you go. Or here's a check. I mean, he knows how to spread the ball around because that's kind of his superpower. I think for Flacco, it's more, I got these two dudes, and I don't care what it shows. I'm going to these two dudes. And the one time, to his credit, he sees double-double. He goes, nope, I got a dude running down the middle on a post pattern. I'm going to there with it. I'm going to take my check down. I don't think you're going to see a lot more games where Jamar Chase is getting 23 targets. But I'd be willing to bet you I'd be shocked with Joe Flacco as the quarterback unless defenses just went, we're going to put a linebacker and a corner and a safety, and we're going to go that way with it. That you don't see Jamar Chase getting double-digit targets. And I think that's the right way to go. And then as soon as they stop some of that, then you go T's route. I mean, T. Higgins, it's funny, Rick. T. Higgins caught 6 for 98 and a touchdown the other night, right? For most fantasy owners, that's a hell of a night. For most regular NFL wide receivers, that's a hell of a night. 6 for 98 and a TD. And yet the guy on the other side just had 10 more catches and 70 more yards. I mean, it was quite insane to look. And I think I asked Flacco this today. I asked Dan Pitcher, the offensive coordinator, the other day. Has the passing game and did the passing game unlock the running game, or did the running game unlock the passing game? Because now if they start to run it effectively, whereas before you may have just said, hey, we can stop these guys with 6 in the box and put coverage towards Chase and coverage towards Higgins, and we still got plenty of guys to cover the rest. And we only have to put 6 in the box to stop the run because they can't run it. Then suddenly you start running it, and you have to go, well, we're going to have to put another guy in the box. Then you're hosed. I think this unlocked a lot of stuff in a game and a half. They seem to have unlocked the entire offense for this season.
And Skinny, again, like you said, it's not to criticize Joe Burrow, but I do wonder if there are some lessons to be learned here for Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor when you see what happens. And it feels very similar to the same lessons that we talked about back in 2023 when it was like, hey, you found success with Jake Browning going under center, playing off play action, doing things a little bit differently. And then when Joe got the offense back, it was like, no, we're going to go back to doing it Joe Burrow's way. And again, I'm not here to say Joe Burrow doesn't know what he's doing or anything like that. Right. But how many times have we sat here, especially in those early games where they've struggled the last few seasons, and talked about why are they being so conservative? I mean, this year, first game of the season where the offense struggled against the Browns, Jamar Chase gets 5 targets, 2 receptions in that game, right? I mean,
some of that is Denzel Ward. I mean, some of that is Denzel Ward. I mean, it is.
Skinny, but right there, that is my exact problem with it. It's Jamar Chase. There is no such thing as someone who can cover him. Force feed him the ball. 23 targets in one game. He wasn't open on all 23 of those throws. But when you give him 23 targets, he's going to do something eventually because he's that damn good. And I think sometimes Burrow and Taylor overthink this by thinking, just live to play the next drive. Joe Burrow's so good that if you don't make mistakes, he's going to put you in good situations often enough that you're going to win the football game. But the problem is this team, the rest of this team and the defense isn't built like that. It is built to let Joe Burrow go up and put up huge numbers. And I don't think they play it that way enough. Joe Flacco seems to be of the opinion of like, hey, right now I don't even know the offense, so I'm just going to do the smartest thing that I can do. And that's give the ball to the best receiver on earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, Rick. He's dropped back 98 times in 2 games, 3 of which were sacks, which, again, credit the offensive line. I think they've played better. I don't know if it's because Joe Flacco's getting it out on time, but they have played better. I mean, think about that. 3 sacks allowed in what approximately, just round the number up just for math's sake, in roughly 100 dropbacks.
I want to ask you. Crazy. I want to ask you more specifically about that in a second, but finish what you were going to say here.
No, but that's crazy to me. So that tells me that the offensive line is probably playing a little better. I think they've settled in with a little bit of stuff, although I think there's going to be a change this week we'll get to. And I think Flacco does get it out quickly. I think he realizes first guy's open. If it's a check down, it's you. If it's Jamar, it's you. I mean, and some of it is honestly, I don't think Pittsburgh's very good. I didn't think much of them coming in the game. That's why I picked the Bengals to win. It was more, I didn't think much of Pittsburgh more than I thought, the Bengals are due to win. It was really more, I just don't think much of Pittsburgh. But again, back to that point, you had Jamar Chase on a bunch of open out routes, and what'd you take like 3 or 4 times in a row? Just take the open out route. It's there. Nobody's covering it. It's easy pitch and catch. And I think Joe has realized, man, I got dudes to throw to, and he's mentioned it 1,000 times. Like, these are 2 dudes. Like, if you can't throw to these 2 guys, who can you throw to? And so I think he's built up a quick rapport. Like, hey man, I just throw this around these guys. They're gonna make catches. And it's just the thing that's come crazy is it just came within 9 days. I mean, of 2 starts, it's insane.
And I think it almost happened out of necessity for Flacco. Yeah. But then when you start looking at what they're doing, it's like, well, duh, this is what you should always be doing when you have Jamar Chase on the field, especially when they also have to cover a T. Higgins. It's like, yeah, force feed one of them, and then they're going to have to adjust, and then it's a pick poison situation, and the Bengals don't force teams into that situation enough. I'm sure everyone's going to say that's oversimplifying it. I'm sure they're going to say it's a game and a half, but we've seen multiple examples of this over the last few years, and it's amazing that they continue to find themselves in that situation, especially early in the season with Joe Burrow in this offense.
I mean, go back to 23 when Burrow was struggling with the calf, right? And they're 1-3. I can't remember the sequence completely of games, but they started 1-3, had that ugly loss in Tennessee. And I don't know if it was the next game. It might have been 2 games later. They go out to Arizona, and Jamar catches 15 balls and is targeted like 19 times. It was almost like, we got to have this, and that's the guy we're going to go to. And again, I know every defense is different. Like, if defense is going to put 3 guys and go, there's a guy going to be on the shallow stuff, there's going to be a corner on him, and there's going to be a safety over the top, well, you probably can't go there 23 times. But you can go there enough.
Yes. And I think that's kind of the whole point here. I don't want to belabor it anymore, but the lack of pressure on him, do you think that's teams deciding that they can't really blitz because they don't have a chance to get to him because he's just going to get rid of the ball so quickly? Or do you think that's teams saying, hey man, it's Joe Flacco back there. Eventually he's going to make a mistake. We don't have to like send it. Let's keep guys in cover. What do you think? Because there's clearly a lack of pass rush compared to what Joe Burrow was facing. What do you make of that?
I think some of it is the offensive line's played better for whatever reason that would be. I do think Flacco gets it out quick. I think he makes a very quick decision. I think Burrow does too, right? I mean, his elite thing is he processes quickly. But I also think Burrow's the guy that it's like, okay, not quite there, not quite there. Okay, now I'll extend. Flacco's like, I ain't extending nothing. I'm going to go
Right.
here. And I think some of that has helped a ton. I also think that we've probably discounted, and I know I'm in the part of this of, oh man, Joe Flacco's an old man who's struggled here, at the end of his career because he's an old man. Well, maybe he's had nobody to throw to because he really didn't in the last few places he's been. He probably did in Indy if guys were healthy, but guys weren't healthy. So I think he's finally had like two dudes to throw to. Like, man, at this stage of my career, you're giving me those two guys? Giddy up. And I think that's been a part of it too.
How incredible does this have to be for him? He went from being a guy who was going to rot away on the bench of a bad team while watching the Dylan Gabriel Shador Sanders clown show to finish out the year and watch his career melt away. And now he's playing with probably the two best receivers in the NFL. I mean, the best receiving tandem in the NFL, and really leading a team that has a chance to stay in playoff contention with the rest of the AFC and AFC North struggling. I mean, it's got to be just the most incredible turnaround for him in a matter of 2 weeks.
No question. I mean, he went from probably thinking I'm never going to start another NFL game to, I got a pretty good group of guys to throw to, and maybe I can be the one that leads them back into the playoffs. What a luxury this is. And that's the thing, Rick, in the it's probably 6 press conferences we've had with him before games and after games, like today. I can't tell you how much it feels like he appreciates the moment and understands I probably am not going to get this moment again. Like, even if you were to say, boy, bring Joe Flacco back as a backup. And he goes, yeah, you know what? If something happens to Burrow, I know these guys. I like these guys. I think he realizes this is like last roundup time, man, and I'm going to make the most of it. It's really – I wish people could understand it because I think we all take it for granted, especially fans. Like, yeah, he's an NFL quarterback who's played 18 years. He can come in here on a Tuesday and play on a Sunday. Bro, that's hard. And then you're playing 4 days later? I mean, in a new system and doing those things? I mean, he could fall flat on his face Sunday. I don't think he will. But it's been so cool and so – refreshing to watch how much he understands. I got kind of lucky here, man, to land where I landed and have this opportunity. And he's just been amazing. It's been amazing to me to watch this.
I'm sure they're all so competitive that they always deep down believe, like, as long as my career's still going, there's the chance that someone will give me another shot and I'll get to do it again and I'll make good on it. But Skinny, let's face it, at this point in his career, he's had that conversation with himself of like, okay, I'm good with just being a backup and trying to mentor and keep cashing a check so I can stick around this game a little bit longer and live this life. And in fact, he's probably had that multiple times. And you have to imagine after the Browns moved on from him a few weeks back that it was like, he definitely had that thought and it was like, okay, this might finally be it for me. It's incredible to have that thought already, be like, I'm good with never starting another game. It is what it is. My career's done. Basically, I'll ride off in the sunset to what he is now, which is on the Thursday Night Football set, talking about an incredible performance and trying to lead the Bengals back to the playoffs again and keep them in contention is just an incredible turnaround. But I want to go back to something you mentioned in last week's podcast that we did. You said that Scott Peters, the offensive line coach for the Bengals, might be getting some help already from somewhere else on staff. Is there any more that you can say about that? Because it was noted in my text messages that you bring that up on the podcast, kind of just mention it in passing, and then out of nowhere, the offensive line is playing much better last Thursday. So
yeah, I don't, because nobody has spoken on that topic, and maybe just out of like sheer necessity to make sure they're not stepping on somebody's toes. But I do think there's something to that. There's probably no doubt in my mind there's something to that because it's been a light bulb going off. Like, I know they didn't run it great in Green Bay. They ran a little bit better in the second half, but there were runs in the second half. You're like, okay, this looks like it's getting there. And in this past week, I mean, I think the runs opened up everything for this offense. Now you got to do it again and again and again. And it wasn't like they were over 200 yards rushing, and they didn't rush it a lot. Although Dan Pitcher told us this week that they called probably 9 to 11 other runs that had a pass tag play on it that Flacco checked into. One of them was the slant to T. Higgins that he took for that one where he split the safeties for the touchdown. So I think that shows that when you run it effectively and you have what looks to be a run play and is supposed to be a run play and shows the defense is probably a run play, and you check out of it to something like that, man, that run game unlocks stuff. So, yeah, I do think there's something to it, but I don't know exactly what that is.
Well, I mean, everyone's ready for the other shoe to drop here in Cincinnati, right? We're all ready for the potential that they could go out, lay a stinker, and this was all for naught. And obviously we know about the defensive issues. We'll talk more about that in a second. But let's just think about this for a second. Do you think it's possible that there is still significant upside for the offense? I mean, we are talking about a guy who really hasn't had time to get a full grasp of what they're doing yet and dive deeper into this. Is there the potential that they are just scratching the surface, then actually with the way he's playing, the confidence he's already established with this group of guys, if they layer a few more things in here, that they can really give defenses some trouble the way they've looked the last week and a half?
Yeah, I kind of wrote that a little bit today. This is kind of the first full normal week Joe Flacco's had. And he actually alluded to that, part of this is you do want to keep getting better and better and better. And he said, I think we can. We haven't unlocked everything. And, if the running game gives you the same juice it gave you in the Thursday night game, maybe not 2 30-yard runs, but at least, 6 and 7 and 8s and 10s and pop a 6 here and an 8 there, that, you're going to be hard to defend. You get yourself in good down and distances, you're going to be hard to defend. So, he talked about just kind of layering, and that's kind of how you want your season to go, keep getting better and better. And I think there's still a lot left on the table. I mean, they're still trying to figure out the guard spot, at least the left guard spot. I think they figured out the right guard spot. They're still trying to figure that part out. Was the running game a one-off, or was that the start of some things to come? I think this Jets game tells you a lot of those things. Look, the Jets aren't very good, but they're at least good enough defensively to where you can see, is this a one-off or is this the start of things to come? I think that's the part of this being a good test. It's a bad team, obviously, at 0-7. But I do think their defense competes. They're good enough. They have good enough personnel to where let's see what you're made of, because I think that's the part. Now, the defense still has a long way to go. We can get in that if you want. If not, I can go down that wormhole for a month. I mean, it's still got a long way to go. But I do think the offense is to a point where you're like, okay, it's more than competent now. It's got a chance to continue to go and maybe take off.
So I was at this Thursday night game, which I typically don't go to games, but it was an incredible game to be at, quite honestly. It chose a good one there. Aside from Trey Hendrickson, who didn't play in that one, the Bengals don't have serious NFL players on the defensive line.
They do on the defensive line. I'm sorry, I thought you meant on the defense as a whole. Because I was going to
on the defensive line, they do not have serious NFL. I mean, it was startling, Rick, to watch how bad they were.
It was. I mean, they don't disengage from a block
at all. They just stick to them. It's like watching basketball players who get screened.
It's like Velcro. I'm going to give Shamar Stewart a pass, although if you look, they kind of took Shamar Stewart out of the mix after a while. He played early, and then they were like, we're good.
He was done.
Now, he had a Shamar Stewart moment, a Texas A&M moment, where he got right around Aaron Rodgers. You're like, oh, that was a good move. You're there. And then literally he's right next to him and doesn't tackle
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Joseph Osai has some moments in the run game that I still go, okay, you're Sam Hubbard. You're gonna do enough solid things where I think you're solid but never special. But you get no interior push. You get Miles Murphy gives you nothing. You're to the point, if you're Al Golden without Trey Hendrickson, you almost have to go, I need to blitz more. But then you're like, I need to blitz more, and I have one good corner. Well, I guess Dax Hill's a good corner, but I have one good outside corner in DJ Turner, and my safeties suck. What am I supposed? I think he's damned if he does. And it goes back to, guess who's kicking his feet up going, you thought it was me? You thought I was the friggin' problem?
Sweet Lou, baby.
Indeedy. I mean, and again, I don't think this is an Al Golden problem. I know people even started out, guess what the college defensive coordinator can't do? I mean, come on, folks. I mean, if you can't watch this and go, that the personnel is garbage, give me a break.
Well, I don't want to keep rehashing the same stuff, but I said it before the season, Skinny. They arguably got worse at almost every position that they needed to upgrade. I mean, if nothing else, they got younger and less experienced, which doesn't usually equal great things in the NFL. I mean, the one thing you can say is DJ Turner is awesome. He's borderline getting to that point now. I mean, he's made some just fantastic plays. That one he had on the sideline where he pulled it away, that was one of the best defensive plays I've seen.
And I'll be honest, I thought he caused the other interception because he was in phase with DK Metcalf. In fact, he was further down the field with DK on the deep ball that Jordan Battle intercepted, to the point where DK kind of gave up on the route. And because of that, because of DJ Turner's speed, and he cut him off, Jordan Battle was able to come over and make the interception. I think he was responsible for both. He leads the league in passes defensed. Passers are completing 51% of their passes against him, according to ProFootballReference.com, not Pro Football Focus, but Pro Football Reference does advanced analytics. And I think passers have a rating of 62.6 against him, which is like, that's back to the 1950s. Passers were awful 62 rating guys. That's the one positive I take away. Like, he's proven to be a guy, like, he gave up the deep ball to DK early, and Al Golden said that was on him. He put him in a bad spot coverage-wise. Okay, I think you're falling on the sword there. You got beat, and sometimes guess what happens in this league? You get beat.
DK Metcalf's good. Like, it happens.
DK Metcalf's good. But, boy, other than that, DK Metcalf really did nothing in that game. And he was their only real wide receiver weapon to throw to in that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the huge positive. I mean, it's a lot of negatives on the defensive side. Almost every other area, they've been a disappointment. But I didn't know if they had any guys that would step up and become a dude like that out of this group. And DJ Turner's looking like he might be a real dude at cornerback. So that's at least something to build around going forward. But man, they just have so much work to do here over the next offseason plus. And, you know, one of the big topics this week, and I don't know that there's any legitimacy to it happening. It might just be talking heads needing something to pontificate about. But do you think there's any possibility that the Bengals would be looking to make a trade in the next few weeks before the November deadline if they were able to get a defensive player?
I think you have to really take a long look at safety. I think you can get by at corner because Dax, I think, is a good player. He's not in the DJ, but he's the slot guy for the most part. You know, listen, it's funny. DJ Turner didn't start the regular season opener because he didn't play well enough in camp on a consistent basis. And Zach Taylor told him. In fact, Paul Dehner Jr. wrote a story about him in The Athletic. I wrote a story more about Cam Taylor-Britt needs to kind of take him as the model of how do I fix myself and get back on the field. Because DJ told – and I combined both stories into kind of one. But DJ told Zach Taylor when he said, you know, you're not going to start. And he said, I'm going to get it back. Bet I'll get back on the field. And he played pretty well that day in Cleveland as a sub. Then came in and started game 2. And he's gone in 6 games to literally, I think you would agree with this, and the analytics back it up, a Pro Bowl caliber player. Not just a good player, but a Pro Bowl caliber player. If Cam Taylor-Britt can look and go, all right, his process right now is really good. Let me follow that process. They locker next to each other, Rick. Cam's a really astute guy. He's a smart guy. He's a good kid. He wants to do well. He's just fallen by the wayside. But there's a chance of redemption for him. If you got him redeemed, okay, now you're set at corner. Now go find a safety that's competent because Jordan Battle's had moments. I can live with Jordan Battle having moments, but Geno Stone just is bad.
Yeah. No, it's pretty much how I see it as well. Skinny, any other thoughts here on the Bengals to wrap this segment up?
No, I'll just leave with this. I mean, the guard spot's interesting. The left guard spot, I did a segment with Mo Egger, which I do every Wednesday on ESPN 1530, and he said, you know, who's starting at guard? I said, well, Jalen Rivers is cemented at right guard. I think they go back to Dylan Fairchild at left guard just because of the time invested in him. But I told Mo, I said, you know, I'm not a coach. I'm not there every day. Not in practice. I don't see these guys. They see them. They see film. They know where things are trending. I'm staying with the hot hand, and Dalton Risner lost his job at right guard to Jalen Rivers. But all I know is the last 2 games, Dalton Risner's been the left guard. And I go back to this, man, 3 sacks and roughly 100 dropbacks. And they ran the ball pretty well this last game. I'm riding with that. And the problem for me is if you go back to Dylan Fairchild, who struggled, I think we'd all agree struggled. Rookies struggle in this league. Rookie offensive linemen struggle in this league. If you go back to him in what now are must-win situations, right? I mean, you can't lose games like this. You can't go, it's okay, Dylan will grow into this eventually. Well, no, I can't. Dylan can't grow. If Dylan struggles in 2 or 3 series and you pull him, then where you were at with that kid? I mean, is his confidence shot? Is he looking around going, I mean, I don't know what to do to get back on the field. I think they're in a weird spot because I do think they like Dylan. I think they think Dylan's a long-term solution. I got to be honest with you, with long-term, man, give me the guy who's playing well at the moment.
You just got to find a way to win the next 2 games.
Right, that's right. No, that's right. And if you want to eventually at that point, I don't know if things are trying. I'm riding the hot hand until I can't. Because listen, if I yank Dylan or if I yank Dalton Risner, well, tough luck, vet. You had a shot. You've had plenty of shots, and I just yanked you. That's too bad. If I yank a rookie, I know we're not here in the feel-good business, but I think you'd agree with this. if you think he's a long-term solution, do you want to kill his confidence now?
Right.
Just
No, it's a legit question. They're kind of in a tough spot there. The problem is you actually had the offensive line playing well for a game. You know, I mean, that's the part that complicates it all.
I'll be honest, for a game and a half, because they were really good in the second half of the Green Bay game. Really good.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's switch gears here to college football. The number 21 ranked Cincinnati Bearcats smacked around Oklahoma State 49-17 last weekend. 6 straight wins now for the Bearcats. Skinny, they're looking to make it 7 at home against Baylor this Saturday. I hate to go back and do this, but especially looking at the way their seasons have played out, could you imagine if they were 7-0? They should have beat that Nebraska team, Skinny. Could you imagine what the conversations would be like right now?
It would have, well, the conversations are still very much, they can play their way in the college football playoff. Now, they still have to go to Utah. They still have to go to TCU. They still have BYU at home, which is good.
They can handle, they can do those things. I mean,
I don't disagree with that. I'm not.
Yeah, they're in the conversation, but if they were 7-0, they'd be in a national conversation that would be
top 12.
Yes. And like, it's not like, oh, okay, if and would, but like, they're definitely better than Nebraska in my mind at this point. I don't think there's any question about that.
If they find a way to get to the college football playoff, and I still think it's a very uphill battle, because I do think those 3 games, 2 of them being on the road, are really, really tough. Probably Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game is going to be really, really, really tough, even if you get to that and you lose one more game to get to that. But, man, if you look back on this and they do that, let's just say they do get to the college football playoff. That last drive at Kansas, my word, what a moment that you go, that was the moment. That was when we realized, we found a way to win, and we're pretty good, and let's go.
And the thing about their offense right now, Skinny, is they're a machine. Like, they look like the 90s Broncos with that outside zone running scheme they got going, and then Sorsby's balling out. Like, He's played well all season. He takes care of the ball. He makes big plays when you need him. He runs for big gains when you need him to. But they've got that. It starts with the running game, really. They are just mauling people with that zone running scheme. It's funny to watch. It almost doesn't feel like current college football in a way. Right. Like, it looks a little different with the way they run the ball, but I like it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's been good for them, man, because Scott Satterfield was dead man walking. He was dead man walking in that last drive at Kansas. I mean that sincerely. Like, you lose that game, there's a chance you lose the next week, and then it starts to snowball like it has. And I'll give him this, man. He has trusted his process, whether you liked it or not. I don't know what the process is, but he's trusted it. He found a way to keep some guys at home. I mean, Dante Corleone could have transferred, right? Joe Royer could have transferred, right? I mean, Sorsby, yeah. I mean, and he found a way to keep them around. Good for him. And, listen, he deserved all the criticism he got for the first few years, and he wasn't a popular hire. And this still may blow up in his face. I mean, Baylor's offense is really good, and they could come in and beat them this weekend, and it starts a chain reaction of events. But I'm not going there. I'm just saying that it could. But good for him for just staying true to himself and what he wants from the program and how he wants to run the program.
Yeah, well, and it is funny because, now a lot of people are getting on and doing we all owe Satterfield an apology. And it's like, well,
not yet.
Do you? I don't think you do. Like, I think he was in a bad spot at Louisville. He came in unheralded at UC. People weren't happy about it. And then he didn't do very well to start his tenure at UC. That is what it is. Now, maybe fans get a little bit too anxious to be like, jump ship on guys and we got to fire everybody. But I don't think it's unreasonable to think he wasn't the answer up until this point. And by the way, I think there are a lot of UC fans having a difficult conversation with themselves right now of, yes, I really want this team to do well, but do I want to feel like I'm stuck with Scott Satterfield going forward if this thing really good? And then here's the crazier part, Skinny. What if they go and make the playoffs and then in this crazy carousel, he's then looking at bigger job, right? I mean, like, there's just it's such a weird game now when it comes to college football. It changes so quick with the fan bases.
I've just never seen so many in-season firings in college football. I mean, it's just usually, like I said, things are going south and the boosters puddle their money together and you go, okay, we'll get you the next to last game and Fred Johnson's the interim coach and then you go find your guy. Now it's like, I mean, am I wrong? And maybe I was wrong because I didn't really – did Florida not win this past weekend over Mississippi State?
They did, but I mean that's one of those situations where you got to figure he was already fired. They were
Understood, but you won, and you're going to fire him after. I mean, dude, you don't fire a guy after all. If you're going to fire him the week before, for God's sake.
I saw a stat that like there had been 4 or 5 different SEC coaches fired after beating Mississippi State in the last however many years. After beating Mississippi State, they still get fired.
Pity poor Mississippi State. Maybe Sark should have gotten fired after beating Kentucky the way they did.
Wow. I mean, they did not look great in that game, which we can talk about now. Well, just to wrap up Cincinnati.
Where's my Kentucky cup?
Yeah, just to wrap up Cincinnati, we could talk about it more in our betting segment, but this Baylor game should be a good test for them and a fun quarterback matchup with that Robertson kid who's leading the college football in passing touchdowns and yards.
They're averaging almost 500 yards a game on offense, and they've got multiple losses.
Yeah, him versus Sorsby is going to be fun, and you got Nippert at night, so it's going to be a great matchup. So Kentucky lost to number 22 Texas in overtime, 16-13. Skinny, I sent out a tweet as we're getting to the final minutes of that game where I would have done anything to watch you in that game because Kentucky's actually playing well enough to be in it, but it was also an infuriating ending sequence for that. The final 7 minutes of regulation on were very frustrating.
So can I give you a scenario from that night?
Yes.
So there's another couple friend of ours that we go out to dinner with probably 3 out of 4 weekends a month, right? It's kind of, we pick a different place. We've been friends since high school. And so that's kind of what, sometimes all our kids come along, but sometimes it's just the 4 of us.
Is this the New Year's Eve dinner couple?
Yes.
Okay.
So we go, we decide, okay, and he just refinished his basement. He had a kind of a party for it about 3 or 4 weeks ago, kind of a shower for his, it was for his son and daughter-in-law. They just gave birth to a baby last night, and it was a shower for them about a month ago, but also to kind of show off the refinished basement. And it's beautiful, man. He did a great job with it. He did some of the work himself, or a chunk of the work himself, but he also had people do it. And he put a 100-inch screen TV down there, right?
Nice.
So that night we're watching college football as the thing's going on. Big party, football fans, sounds out. We were watching because one of the guys is a Tennessee fan. We're watching Tennessee's game. I don't remember who they're playing that night. Anyway, so we decide we're going to meet for dinner at 5:30, and we'll go back to their house and watch the Kentucky game at 7. Back to their house at 7. I'm going to call these people out. Altafiber. Altafiber was his provider, and Altafiber crapped out. And so we're thinking, okay, this happens. It'll come back. And, he's all apologetic. Let's go to a bar. I'm like, no, man, we're here. It is what it is. They're going to get their ass kicked anyway. And so it gets to halftime, and it's still not coming on. And I'm like, dude, it'll be on probably shortly. We're watching the game on a phone, mind you. My wife had her phone. And so we're watching the game on a phone. So at halftime, we're like, let's just play euchre and stay here and watch the game on the phone. And so there we are, huddled around a phone. With
100 screens sitting empty next to you.
Correct. This is why it was. So you're watching that on the phone, and I just watch. So the worst part was I also have CBS Sports alerts on my phone, and those are always faster than they come in before.
Yeah.
And
the delay of ESPN Plus. Yeah.
So on the 3rd and 1 play, I look down. They don't make it. I'm like, I don't say a thing. I'm just watching. I'm like, okay, go ahead and run into the brick wall again, you dumbass. I mean, it's literally like I told you, Rick. Hey, man, there's a brick wall there. Go ahead and run into it a couple times for me and see if you can knock that brick wall down. Oh, you didn't? Hey, Rick, I know that probably didn't feel good, but can you go run that brick wall down again for me? It's not going to move, but you can go ahead and try. And it happened again. I mean, what are you doing? And so I'm watching it, and I didn't have the heart when they got stopped on 4th down. I just gritted my teeth, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch it and wait for everybody's reaction. And then I knew the field goal was good as well. The whole night, I'm going to watch this game that I want to watch so badly on a 100-inch screen TV. I'm watching on a friggin' iPhone, watching guys slam into the line, already knowing what the frick happened.
I mean, they did the 4th and 1 thing on their first drive. They got stopped at the 16 so they don't get points.
Yes.
And then they do it on the final drive in OT.
And then how about punting the ball? The only play Texas had all night was a punt return. How about we punt it to him again?
Yeah, did the getting the 4th and 1 stuffs piss you off more, or was it the letting a punt returner beat you multiple times piss you off more?
Yeah, both. The first time's fine. I mean, that happens. But once he does it, I am not punting to him again. I'm putting it 38 yards out of bounds and living with the 12 yards you think you might have gotten in field position. Oh, by the way, you didn't because he just went right by you the other way.
Yeah.
He is an idiot. I will tell you this. Listen, he's done so many great things for that program. He really has. I mean, as somebody that's been a long time sufferer of this and used to love Jerry Claiborne going 6-5 and going to the Peach Bowl. It's funny. You get the 10-win seasons he got a few years ago in the college football playoff scenario that is today. They're probably in. They really are. They're probably in. Different scenario. So you can't say what he did wasn't good, but what he's done lately is awful, and his game management is awful. It's just that's the part to me as a coach myself. Listen, I can mess up game management sometimes, but I'm usually good in game management. Like I know situations like if we get a bucket here, I need a timeout real quick. How many timeouts do I have left? What's the foul situation? It's almost like he doesn't realize, what is the situation here? Like they got a bad spot on the 1 4th down play, right? Where it should have been 4th and probably a half a yard. It didn't want to be in 4th and a yard and a half. And I don't think anybody knew what it was because they ran a sneak that like, all we need is a half a yard. Nobody. You needed almost 2 full yards because they gave you a bad spot. They did. You probably should have asked for a challenge, but you didn't. You thought it was 4th and a half yard. Their game management is embarrassing.
He also mentioned that they needed 6 inches on that final drive. And it's like, well, a half a yard is not 6 inches, my guy, even if you needed a half a yard. Like, that's not how that works.
So on their
is it possible that he just doesn't understand fractions or math?
Maybe.
Like he doesn't know how long a yard is. If you told him like actually a yard is 3 full feet, he wouldn't be going for it on 4th and 1 as much.
And he maybe tell you, hey, back in my day it was the metric system, man. I'm messed up with the metric system. I don't know. I know. So I'm not expecting you to do deep dive on Kentucky football, but you know enough of Kentucky football. What is their best room on offense? If I said their best room on offense is this position.
Running back.
Maybe. I would go tight end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you mean on this year's team?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
I just thought you meant like over the course of the years.
Rick, I am such a big believer. The hardest play to stop in all of football at any
play
level.
Action, rollout.
Play action, bootleg.
Yep.
It's impossible. You got tight ends. First off, you got a fake handoff. People have to honor the fake handoff. You got flow going one way, quarterback going the other. Unless somehow a guy reads it perfectly and gets in your face right. How often does that happen? Not very much. And then you got tight ends crossing everywhere. And it's just like there's so much activity going on. You could have tried that on one of those downs when that's your best room with Josh Caddis and Covcats Willie Rodriguez. You couldn't do that one time. Instead, you went, there's a brick wall. We can't move this brick wall. Let's just slam through it. What an idiot.
Mark Story from, I think it's the Herald Leader. He writes for.
Yeah, great columnist. I like Mark.
Yeah, wrote a good column about this and Stoops' decision making in that game, and he brought up the interesting point that Stoops often has the like image that he's conservative or too conservative. He's a conservative style coach, and maybe he's not inventive as a play caller, but Story brought up.
Bush Hamden is the play caller, but yes.
Well, I mean, as a coach, I should say, and like their decisions and whatever. But like in terms of being risk averse, Mark Story brought up numerous occasions where actually he's failed by being too risky and going for it in 4th down situations and trying to go for it when just taking the points would have won you the game like it would have in overtime against Texas potentially.
Well, I don't blame the overtime decision. Like when you have the ball first and you're down there that close, that quick, that's got to be a touchdown. I have one thing I'll tell you, I have no problem with them going for the touchdown.
But you got to do something other than just run it up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Run up the middle.
Like I said, I'm telling you, the bootleg is undefeated, man. I swear to God, Sean McVay is the master of the bootleg with old man Matt Stafford running that son of a gun. And there's just too many moving pieces and he's just too out in space and you can scan the field and you have a little extra time. Why does that seem so hard when your best room is the tight end room? I'm guessing you got tight end crossers. I'm guessing you do. I would hope you do.
Yeah, I never understand that, especially in that situation where the play action causes half the defenders to leave their feet and dive into a pile to begin with. So it's like you've already eliminated half the defense on that.
You have to honor that run action. You can't not honor the run action.
Yeah.
I mean, Good. It's Kentucky football in a microcosm. Makes me sick.
Well, they'll host number 17 Tennessee on Saturday night. So
yeah, good for them.
We'll give our picks on that in a minute. Number 1, Ohio State shut out Wisconsin 34-0. They head to their bye week. The Buckeye fans are wringing their hands over the running game because they watched Julian Sayin go 36 of 42 for 393 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He came into the game as the most accurate passer in the country at like 79%, and he somehow increased that percentage, Skinny.
I think he was. If I saw the bottom line on ESPN correctly on my little phone as I was watching the game before that. Actually, I was at a restaurant, so I think was he 23 of 26 in the first half. I think
that's right. Yeah.
Good gracious gravy. And, dude, it feels like they're just still scratching the – the thing is, it doesn't feel like they've emptied the tank in any way, shape, or form. Like they're still
kind of vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. His Heisman odds are all of a sudden at plus 400.
The favorite now, though, is the Indiana quarterback, right?
It depending on which book you're looking at. Alabama's Ty Sampson is at FanDuel right now.
Yeah, he's been great.
But he and Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, are neck and neck. And then right behind them now is Julian Sayin. But Skinny, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I don't know. I can't remember seeing a big time quarterback for a huge program completing 80% of his passes this deep into the season.
No, I mean, because you're playing usually – you're in the Big Ten. It's great competition. You've probably played a good out-of-conference game, which they did against Texas. And that's when – I mean, Texas is a lot of things. They're still good defensively. Arch Manning's a handful at the moment, but they're still good defensively. So, yeah, I mean, he's done it against a lot of not great teams, but certainly good competition. I mean, as bad as Wisconsin is on offense, they're still – I mean, if this was men and boys, it would have been 56-0, right? So, I mean, at least they competed on defense for a chunk of it. No, he's been great, and I think you watch. They continue to ramp him up little by little by little, knowing eventually it's going to be a 14-14 game in the playoffs, and he's going to have to lead a drive, and we got to make sure that he's capable of leading that drive. I think he is, but you need to see some of that stuff. My only fear for Ohio State, honestly, is – they're not easy because I don't want to make it sound that's terrible to say because nothing's easy. I mean, again, 37-0 sounds easy. It's not easy. I mean, it's still you played 4 quarters at 37-0. It wasn't like they scored. They got a running clock on you for goodness sakes. My only fear is they haven't had to make a ton of big plays in big situations other than the Texas game.
That's exactly right. I mean, Skinny, and the Penn State game now is looking like
it's trash.
Right. It's not, it might not even be a challenge. So if you blow Penn State out, now we're all just sitting there waiting for the Michigan game at the end of the season to see if you can get out of your own heads.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, literally, Rick, it's in your own head. That's the only thing that beats you in that game because they're not
clearly superior.
Yeah, correct.
Your defense will give their freshman quarterback all types of trouble. So, back to the original point, though, that Ohio State fans are worried about. Are you at all concerned about them struggling with the running game, or do you not even – I don't even see it as really struggling. I see it when your quarterback's doing what Sayin was doing, you don't really need to run the ball.
No, I don't. I mean, I get you want to nitpick as a fan because you want it to be a clean 51-0 sweep. Bubs, that's not going to happen in the Big Ten. You might get one of those, like Indiana got Illinois. You're going to get one of those you ain't getting those every week. I mean, they're toying with people at the moment.
Since Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, Skinny, I think they might have pushed on the Ohio game. Depending on what book you're at, maybe they didn't cover that Ohio State.
I don't think they cover it because I have buddies that are Ohio U fans. I think took Ohio U. I think the Ohio U cover. I think they covered.
Yeah, depending on which book, it might have been either a push or Ohio cover, depending. But that's like a nothing game that if you're betting that spread, you're kind of just a degenerate to begin with. Ohio State's covered every spread other than that since the Michigan game last year. So I mean, you just think Ohio State fans are quite literally looking to pick any nit at this point because they're bored and they're psycho. So. All right, let's switch gears here to our pick'em, where you went 6-2 last week to put you at 26-24. I went 4-4 to move to 27-23. So we're a game apart.
Nice.
Your best bet of the week was a fantastic one. Northwestern shut out Purdue 19-0. I had Ole Miss, which looked good for a while, but then ended up losing to Georgia by exactly 8 on that 7.5 point spread.
What a backdoor! Not a backdoor. What a weird cover that was, though,
It
right?
was, man. It felt terrible, to be quite honest.
I'm
So,
noting you. Unfortunately, I had the other way on you. I needed Georgia to cover in many things. So, yay
well,
for Georgia.
good for you then. At least it benefited one of us. Saturday at 4 p.m., we've got the Baylor at Cincinnati game. 4.5-point spread, 67.5 is the total.
I mean, Baylor can score. They just can't stop a soul. The weird part is UC does give up long drives, sustained drives. They're bending but not break.
They're the Lou Anarumo specialists. Yards per equal points.
I'm going to go UC 37, Baylor 30 because it feels like it's just going to stay under just a hair. 67.5, right? It's the total?
67.5.
Yeah, 37-30 Bearcats.
Yeah, I'm at 35-27, so pretty similar scores there. You feel like you got to play the under. I know both these teams could score a ton of points, but 67.5 is just an insane total.
And again, UC's mantra is we're going to let you have 6 yards here and 8 yards there. You're just not getting over the top of us, and you're going to eventually mess up. And if you have long drives, Rick, because usually you see games like this, you're like, oh my gosh, both teams are getting to the 40s. In theory, yes. But when you let teams do those things and then they mess up one time, maybe 2 times, like you have a penalty, turn it over, suddenly then it's like, oh gosh, there's not a lot of possessions left in this game to get it to the over. So we're probably going to be able to be wrong. It's probably going to be 45-40 somebody, but I'm just going slightly under. I'm just under by the hook, mind you. But
and that's actually a game I really will bet the under in that one because of that. If you want to see how quickly the math changes on this, just watch the live line. And if they don't score in the first 5 or 6 minutes of that game, watch how quickly that total starts coming down. I mean,
no question, right? No, you're right.
You have to score at a crazy rate to hit a total like that. So Saturday at 7:45, we've got number 17 Tennessee at Kentucky. The Vols are an 8.5-point favorite. The total is 53.5.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by Kentucky because the defense. I mean, listen, Rick, they were a one-possession game with Ole Miss, right? They were obviously in this game with Texas. If they don't have back-to-back turnovers for touchdowns at South Carolina, that's a one-possession game that you can win. So they've competed, and I think they compete here. I do. I think they compete enough. I don't think they win because just they can't win. I'll go Tennessee 27, Kentucky 23.
27-23. So that is Kentucky and the under. I'm going with Tennessee to cover here. I'm going to go 31-20. So Tennessee and stays under for me as well. That Ohio State is on a bye, so that brings us to Sunday at 1 p.m. We've got the Jets at the Bengals. Bengals are a 6.5-point favorite. The total is 43.5.
Listen, the Bengals are 0-9-1 after Thursday night games. Do you know that?
Oh, I did not. But can I change my pick now?
No, because eventually that has to change. So Sunday, I have a rare day off, right? Because the Bengals played on Thursday. Sundays of this week, that's like the week where I can just Rick, I got up. I probably woke up at like 8 just on my own. It was a late night, but I just can't sleep till 10 o'clock like I used to do back in high school and college. So I woke up at like 8. Fit around the computer, made a pot of coffee. I'm like, hey man, by the time I'm done with this, I got games at 9:30. My wife went to go see The Notebook with my daughter and some other people, the play, the musical, The Notebook. And so I'm like, I got the whole day with me and the dog and football, man. This is awesome. I budged my couch like 3 times to get a drink, go take a leak, and to get another drink.
That's beautiful.
And make some popcorn, man. I think I made some popcorn. So I'm watching Red Zone. I'm a big Red Zone guy because the 2 games were on. The Vikings-Eagles game I flipped to. That was on local TV, but mostly it was Red Zone. And I needed the Jets to cover 6.5 in a teaser. And they get it to 13-3, and they have a couple opportunities where Tyrod Taylor has guys wide open down the field, like wide open. And he underthrows both of them to the point that was like one was an interception, another one was knocked away. It's like, this guy's trash. And guess what? The guy who was trash that was playing for a guy who was benched in Justin Fields. They are so horrific offensively. Yes, I can certainly take your argument, fans. The Bengals are horrific defensively. They are. And Breece Hall might run for 147 and 2 touchdowns. But if Breece Hall doesn't run for 147 and 2 touchdowns, whoever quarterbacks this team is garbage. I'm going to go Bengals 28, Jets 9.
All right, 28-9. So Bengals easily cover, and it also stays under. I'm not so sure that the under here isn't my favorite bet of the week. I'm going Bengals 17, Jets 10. So Bengals barely cover, and it stays under. But yeah, the 43.5 with this Jets offense. I don't care how bad the Bengals defense is. I know Flacco looked good this past week against the Steelers, but you got to figure teams are going to adjust to that a little bit. The Jets defense isn't terrible. Also, could be a little bit of a fluke for the Bengals there last week, the way they performed offensively. It's still Joe Flacco. I don't 43.5 just seems like a lot of points for this game.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite bet of the week, Skinny?
All right, I'm going back to a single game bet. I guess I got the one last week. I got to stay with it. I'm going to go Vandy at home, laying 2.5 to Missouri. It's probably a pick that they're suckering me in. Missouri is 6-1. Vandy's 6-1. Vandy's coming off the win over LSU. Vandy shredded a great LSU defense. And if you go back to the week before, they moved the ball at will against Alabama. Unfortunately, they had a couple of turnovers. Diego Pavia threw a bad interception in the red zone in that Alabama game. That it happens. I think Alabama is actually the second best team in the country, in my opinion. And it was on the road. This is only the second road game for Missouri. They just won their first road game at Auburn, 23-17 in double overtime, and felt like they got lucky to do so. Their only loss to their credit is to Alabama at home, 27-24. Maybe that's why the line is so tight. Maybe it's the whole you keep looking at Vandy and going, it's Vandy, man. No, it's not. They are so good offensively. It's absurd. And that little dude makes plays. I'm going Vandy minus 2.5.
I like it. They're at home. I mean, that's a huge part of that too. I mean, I like that. I'm not overwhelmed with this Missouri team, so I'm with you there. I think I will tail you on that one. I don't have any bets that I love this week. There's a lot that I like, and I'm going to go back to the Cincinnati game because I think there are a few things you can do with that there. Baylor is 1-6 against the spread, Skinny.
Wow.
1-6. Cincinnati's 5-2. So Cincinnati at home minus 4.5. I think that might be the play right there. Just go ahead and take.
And Rick, I'm looking at it now on my CBS Sports app, and again, we all look at different things, right? Different books have different things. Yep. I got 3.5 at the moment, but yeah.
FanDuel's showing 4.5, but
I was say bet the hook off, take the hook off, get it down to 4 for goodness sakes.
Yeah, if you want, but 4.5's there. I also really like that under number we were talking about. I think I'm going to say my best bet of the week is a parlay, a same game parlay combo here with Cincinnati minus 4.5 and the under 67.5. I also think if you're really, not sure about Cincinnati there, maybe think about an alternate line and just taking Cincinnati as basically a pick 'em and pairing them with someone else that you take the number down a little bit on it as a parlay.
I would say pick them and take the line up to 70 and make that your 2-team parlay. It's probably still plus 180.
Yeah, I mean you're still in a decent spot there, so definitely something to consider. But I'm going to go with that same game parlay minus 4.5 and under 67.5 in the Cincinnati game.
Like it.
All right, college basketball time, Skinny. I mentioned on Twitter, I think this might be my new time of year. I love college basketball. I always feel like the start of college basketball season is lost because football and it's just kind of a niche sport and people don't get into it.
Secret scrimmages.
But now we still have secret scrimmages, I guess, but now we have all these big public exhibitions and they're awesome. Even if it's not a big game, it's still awesome. Like seeing Xavier and NKU play this past week in live games against other opponents where they were actually trying, allegedly, is good to see. We can get more into that, but let's start with Cincinnati and Michigan because this was freaking awesome. I went ahead and I watched it on Big Ten Plus. 100-98 was the final score. Cincinnati led by as many as 20 in the first half against Michigan, which is expected to be, by many people, a top 5, at least a top 10 team going into the season. They led by 18 at halftime. Michigan came storming back at BC, held on to win. To me, the big story was Shana Baev, the 5-star freshman. He looks like the real deal, Skinny. I don't know if he's ever going to pass, but the dude can go out and get you a bucket.
And Rick, you probably heard the same things I did at some point in this preseason that he didn't look very good. He was struggling, and all of a sudden he puts up that. And the balance of the offense was good. Again, I don't want to get over my skis on a scrimmage, even if it's over a really good Michigan team. But I would think if you're a UC fan, there were some good things to look at. The only thing I would caution is boy, depth is really thin. It feels really thin.
I'll tell you this.
And listen, Kirk Kriisa feels like he gets hurt at every stop he's been at some point. It just feels really thin. I don't want to get too negative on that because again, that was I mean, what was it, 7 guys in double figures, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right. Skinny, they were 12 for 31 from 3, which that right there is going to be welcome for UC fans just to see the ball going through the net from the outside. Yep. I thought Sham looked good inside.
I know, I do it all the time. It's spelled Thom.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to think that when you see it on his jersey.
Yeah.
But Kirk Kriisa was 4 of 9 from 3. So he gave them a nice boost offensively, which is exactly the kind of role they're looking for him. Sincere Harris is exactly what UC fans want to see. He just looks like your prototypical Bob Huggins, tough, athletic, defensive first, but can still make some plays for you type of guy. I mean, I didn't see much that UC fans aren't going to love. And I mean, even Tyler McKinley came into the game, probably playing a few more minutes because they don't have Jalen Haynes now because of his injury. And he made a 3. He looked like he could handle himself out there. There wasn't much negative to take away from this game if you're UC. I mean, maybe you're going to nitpick all the points they gave up in the second half because they gave up like 60-something points, but it was also against freaking Michigan. So
Correct.
And you won the game.
Correct. No, I'm with you. I still want to reserve judgment because again, scrimmages, and I'm going to go probably the negative on Xavier here in a second. But the flip side could have been you go up there and get rolled 98-74, and you're like, oh crap, what are we doing? I mean, what's going on? You didn't. I mean, you won and you scored 100. I mean, that's pretty incredible. I don't think West plays a lot of games in the hundreds. Feels like West wants to play a lot of games in the 60s. But you got 100, and maybe that's just a let's go.
It means absolutely nothing. It does absolutely nothing for Wes Miller if they don't go out and do really well this season. But if you're a UC fan who's just wanting to watch basketball a couple weeks before the season starts, you saw nothing but positives basically.
Dude, and I should know this, and shame on me, I don't. What do they? I know do they have another? Oh, they got Arkansas.
They've got Arkansas Friday at 8.
Yeah, that's right. It's on TV. That's right.
Another awesome one.
I'm an idiot. Yeah.
So we've got Kentucky playing Purdue at Rupp Arena at 6 p.m. on Friday. Yeah. And then UC playing Arkansas at 6. I mean, it just really does. I'm telling you, this is my new favorite time of year. It is awesome to watch these exhibition games. And like,
we all will go overboard on this. We will all jump like, God, they're awesome. Or, man, they suck.
Even if not, it's just
what you are in November, or in this case, October. You ain't even that team in mid-December, buddy. You're just not either way, good or bad.
For sure. But look, meaningless basketball games sound dumb when you're thinking about like conference play and you're into January or February or March. But when you're basketball starved and it's been months and months since college basketball, it's freaking awesome to watch meaningless games between high major teams that wouldn't otherwise play each other. So,
dude, it's so weird. I'm 8 practices deep into my high school basketball season, official practices. And it feels like this because our start of our season, we don't scrimmage them, I think, till November 18th. I'm like, I started looking between our regular season opener, which is on December 3rd, and for whatever reason, I had Kentucky scheduled up today just because I was trying to get kind of my mindset with some of this stuff. I'm like, they're going to play 8 games before we even play a game. It's insane how early this starts now.
I know. It really is. Let's switch gears over to the Cintas Center where, if UC fans are elated and out over their skis from a positive perspective, Xavier fans are in the exact opposite boat because they lose to Murray State 75-70. And Skinny, I think the problem here is if you were in attendance and you watched this game, it didn't feel like a fluke. No. It didn't feel like, oh, Xavier just missed some shots and like it's a scrimmage, whatever. They weren't trying. It felt like it could happen again if they lined it back up tomorrow.
So I haven't talked to you about this game yet. This is literally the first time you and I have talked about this game, but I talked to others, like some other journalists who were there, a friend of mine who was there. I think he said they had three shot clock violations. Is that right?
Yeah, at least 2 in the first half, I believe. There might have been another one. And look, I mean, they started their blue and white intramural scrimmage at Musketeer tip-off a few weeks ago on the very first possession with a shot clock violation. So this isn't something that's like going away for them. They don't have creators. They don't have playmakers on offense. My biggest takeaway, the thing I would have come out of there saying if I was a Xavier fan, I watched that. The biggest concern would be this team has a couple guys that could maybe approach being a third best player on a Big East team, but they don't appear to have any guys that would be a first or second best player on a Big East team.
So I didn't think this guy was going to be a dude, but I thought All Right was kind of at least a scorer. No?
Yeah, and maybe he still will be. I mean, it's one scrimmage, but he looks more like a bench guy for them. He played more point guard than I wasn't sure how much he would play point guard, because in the preseason, Richard Pitino has been kind of non-committal about him being the other point guard along with Roddy Anderson. He's like, well, we've played Malik Messina more there. We've tried some different looks. But he did play the backup point a lot. The problem for him is he's just really small. I mean, even against Murray State, he did not physically look like he was up to par.
He's like 6 foot, but what does he weigh? He looks like
not a lot.
Yeah, he looks very, very physically challenged. I mean, is what it is. So it was weird. So I told you about vegging on the couch on a Sunday. Well, I got a chance to veg on the couch on a Saturday too, to watch college football, because again, I'm an old man who's a slug when I can be a slug. I got too much going on in my life during the week where, like, if I get a chance to do this, I'm going to do this. And so I can't remember what time was that game, because I just remember the email came in. What time was that game?
The Xavier game?
Yeah.
It was at 2, I want to say.
Yeah, okay. So maybe, because we had not left for dinner, so maybe 5 o'clock. I was waiting to get ready to leave. We were like at 5:15. We're going to a restaurant pretty close to us. And I remember the email came in from Xavier. And I'm like, do I really want to look at the PDF of this box score? Do I really want to look at this? I'm like, yeah, I got to look at it because I'm going to have to talk about it and I need to see it. And I called it up. I'm like, they couldn't lose, could they? And I looked, I went, whoo, boy. I mean, that was literally my reaction was, whoo, boy. And I think, wasn't Murray, you correct me if I'm wrong, I've heard this, Murray was missing a starter or two, too?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Along the lines of it wasn't a fluke. I mean, Murray State, Skinny, J.J. Traynor, who played 4 years at Louisville, played last year at DePaul. He's going to be probably their best high major athlete in the front court this year. He did not play in this game. Their top center, who ended up with a double-double in the game, Frederick King, is a Creighton transfer. He didn't play like the first several minutes. I talked to the radio guys. I guess they were kind of, I don't know if he was being punished, but they decided to hold him out and not start him in the game for whatever reason. So it was like they were rotating guys in and out throughout the game. Xavier's top players played 30-plus minutes.
Oh, I saw the box.
Yeah, so it wasn't like Xavier was just playing crazy lineups and they weren't trying and Murray State was like out to get blood or anything. It was like, no, Murray State probably could have made that score look worse if they really wanted to. And again, if they were to line it up tomorrow, I have no guarantee for you that it would go better for Xavier this time. That would be my biggest concern as a Xavier guy.
So I'm sure you saw the comments of Rick Pitino about he doesn't think they're going to be very good this year, Xavier, about his son's team.
Yeah.
Was that him trying to be funny, or do you think he understands, like, and has talked to his son, obviously, like, I'm just trying to soften the blow for everybody, like, they're not going to be very good this year?
No, 100%. I think they're just like honest in their family. And I think there's probably a little bit of trying to soften the blow, but I don't like Xavier fans are still debating whether or not that's a real thing. And I'm like, what Richard Pitino has said it himself, like, we're not going to be able to turn this thing around right away. Even though we have the transfer portal, it's still going to take some time. And especially with the way it just happened this past year, the transfer portal, we weren't at an advantage. So it's definitely not going to be this year where we turn it around.
So, Rick, we probably don't have time to go into this wormhole, so I may hold you can hold your answer on this. Talk to a buddy of mine who's a Xavier season ticket holder. Here's the thing for me, and it's not a Richard Pitino issue, it's a program issue. Do they have the wherewithal to be able to dig out from under this? Like, once you go under, do you have the NIL backing? Do you have – I mean, you have a facility. You have a tradition. You have a standard. You have all those things. But can you dig out from this in whatever period of time you think dig out means? Or are you DePaul eventually?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's all.
I'm putting you on the spot. I know. I know.
It's a different it's a long conversation, a nuanced and complex conversation for another day. But added space where we're at right now, every year is a new year in this NIL thing. So it's all going to come down to where do they come out from a competitive standpoint in terms of their NIL budget. And I think we don't have a good gauge on that after this past spring. This past spring was not indicative of what the landscape is going to look like this coming spring. And then we don't know what it's going to like going forward. I agree with a lot of people that the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC aren't going to stand idly by and be like, oh no, now the Big East is going to outspend all of us because we have to share our money with football. Right. I agree. They will change the rules to benefit them at some point. But for right now, going into this coming spring, I think those rules are holding them back from being able to spend as much as they would like. And I think Xavier is going to be in a much better spot this spring as opposed to last spring where they were in literally the worst spot possible because everyone with an NIL collective that had some money in it was completely emptying those coffers before July 1st. And Xavier didn't have that.
Right. That's true.
Right. So I think that's where it's like this year is a terrible year to judge it when you're replacing an entire roster with a budget that was half or less than most of the people you're trying to compete with. I think you're going to see the bottom half of the Big East really struggle as a result of that. I think, it's not just Xavier. I think Providence is going to struggle even though they spent some money. I think Butler, Seton Hall, those teams DePaul are going to continue to struggle at the bottom of the Big East. Let's see what happens after this coming spring where everyone's at. Because again, everyone's resetting their rosters so much year to year that I don't feel like you get in holes the way you used to from a program standpoint. Now, maybe other factors like as the university as a whole, financially, there are issues there or whatever, but
big issues there. There are big issues there.
But if you're just talking from like a competitive balance standpoint in college basketball, that would be less of concern to me now than it would have been like 5 or 10 years ago, where it felt like, man, if your program starts to fall behind, kids don't want to go there anymore and yada, yada, yada. It's like now it's just all about like, can you swoop in and offer them enough cash to get the right player there?
The only thing I'll leave you this. The only thing I wish I knew about NIL is could you 1 year go, we can't get these dudes. I'm going to bank this money for next year and beyond. And it's like the salary cap. I can roll over money into my next year's salary cap.
Yeah, there have been people talking about different strategies and how that all would play out. And I don't have a good answer to that yet. I'm interested to see what teams try to start doing because it does feel like you're going to see people get more strategic about it, right? They're not going to say they're tanking, but we see it in professional sports. So eventually that model is going to come to college sports on some level, you would think, now that it's all about money. So we'll see. The problem is, Skinny, right now, you can't even really do that as well because there's no guarantee that you can hold guys in play. You know what I mean? You can't.
Right. Well, no, that's right. No, that's
It's all about just saving money from year to year. It's really you can't get anything built up in terms of young talent or established guys for the most part with any sort of guarantee. Real quick here, NKU beat Ashland 83-72 at UD Arena on Monday night. Really nice event, to be honest, for NKU to be a part of. Go up there. It's part of Anthony Grant's foundation for.
Who did Dayton play?
They beat Penn State on Sunday.
That's right. I was just curious.
Ohio and Wright State played after NKU.
But didn't Wright State beat Ohio? Is that right?
I believe that's right. I didn't stay for that.
I think so. Because I think they did. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know why you felt the need to bring that up on this show. We don't talk about Wright State, but nor do we talk about Ohio. So we don't ever need to talk about Wright State.
I just want to make sure people think I'm paying attention to things.
Skinny, exhibitions don't count. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay. So it doesn't matter what Wright State did in an exhibition.
Fair point. That's fair point.
For NKU though, just briefly, I think if from a positive standpoint, you're like, hey, Donovan O'Day, Cale Robinson, Tay Dozier, Ethan Elliott, those newcomers that you're expecting to play a lot of minutes, they looked great. They looked ready to handle the role. They scored for you. They led the way. That's a really good thing. LJ Wells had 16 rebounds. Didn't score as much, had 9 points, but 16 rebounds. That's what you want to see out of him. But Dan Goretzka really kind of looked like he did start last season. He had turnovers. He didn't score at all. He didn't quite look like he was didn't have that spark to him. He wasn't up and down the court and causing chaos on both ends. That's a concern because you need him to be good, and you're expecting him. A lot of people are expecting him to be like a player of the year candidate in the conference going in. So,
two things for him: is I've got to have competition to be a motor guy, and that happens with a lot of guys. It does. You play down to your competition, or you play up to your competition. And no offense. Who was the biggest guy on Ashland? And LJ Wells should have had 16 rebounds. I'm not giving you crap for that. I'm just telling you.
Maybe,
LJ Wells should have had 16 rebounds.
Maybe, but they have the player of the year back from last year, who's a center, and he's very good.
They're D2, and they're really good D2.
Yeah, and their center was very solid. So that was the nice thing. They got a really nice test from the front court inside. They were very physical. They attacked NK. Actually, it showed some issues with the NKU's defense. They got to get tougher inside. There's no doubt about that. And when LJ is off the floor, rebounding could be a major issue based on what we saw in that game. So they've got to correct that part of it. Ashland was probably the more physical team in some ways in this game. But with Dan Skinny, I mean, you could say that, but I mean, last year they started off at like Florida State, and I mean, it's like Florida State's plenty big enough for him.
But was he overwhelmed by Florida State? Like at some point,
I think so.
Occasionally you get overwhelmed and then your confidence takes a hit and then you play up and down your competition because, to your point, I mean, he got really good.
Yeah, he was so good the last 10 games. I mean, so good. But they need him to have some level of consistency this year, and they can't wait 2.5, 3 months for him to get to that point like he did last season. So that's going to be the storyline at this point going in. I'm sure they don't want to boil it down to just that, but if you watch that exhibition, I mean, that's the way it feels right now.
I'll leave you with this because I've been asked this question before. Where do things stand with Sam Vincent?
Yeah, actually, Darren Horn just answered that on the latest Darren Horn show that'll air tomorrow night, Thursday night, as we're recording this. It'll be on FanDuel Ohio.
Who's the host of that show?
Well, actually, on this one, I will be hosting it, but typically I'm just like the producer. I'm the editor and videographer for it.
I was trying to give you a plug, bro.
I know. I appreciate you give me too much credit, though. You give me too much credit. Sam Vincent has been officially denied by the NCAA, but it sounds like he might be seeking legal action and looking into other options. So I don't think it's quite dead yet. But at this point, I don't think they're counting on him.
I don't know if he has his degree or not. I hope he does.
Meanwhile, Louisville's bringing back players from the G League who are 23.
From the freaking G League.
It's disgusting.
It's crazy. I mean, that is crazy to me.
And meanwhile, they're telling Sam he's ineligible over like 3 games. He played 3 too many games by their count.
Oh, my Lord. And so is he – I don't know if you know the answer. If he has his degree, he can grad transfer, right? But it wouldn't be to NKU. You can't grad transfer your own place. That's just insane to me.
Yeah. He does have his degree, but I don't think the grad transfer is in the works for him. I don't know what's going to happen. It's really a shame. It's really a shame the way it was handled too. So
it sounds like it.
All right. Well, Kentucky has a $22 million payroll, and they'll take that on well, they won't take it on the road. They'll be at Rupp playing Purdue Friday night at 6 p.m. So we will.
So awesome. That is, you talk about a marquee exhibition game. Good gracious.
Yeah. And then it's Georgetown the following week.
I know.
We get to watch them back-to-back weeks here. That'll be fun to see what they look like on the court for the first time. So this podcast has been going very long. Do you want to answer a couple quick Ask Anything?
I do. I always do.
What are your thoughts on the Shohei Ohtani show, Skinny?
All right, so I can't take credit for this, but I've got a comparison for this. So we all played against that little league guy, right? That he batted leadoff and he homered every time he was up, and he'd strike you out every time you were up. I played against a guy named Kevin Hutchinson back in the day. He played for Johnny's Car Wash.
We've heard about Kevin Hutchinson on this podcast before.
He pitched at Lloyd, and and I hit him at Lloyd. I didn't hit him in Little League. Like you're a different kid.
You hit him with a pitch, or you got to hit off of it?
No, I got to hit. Like in not-hole ball, I was like 5'1", 87 pounds. In high school, I got to at least 5'7", 150 pounds. I mean, I'm a little bit bigger than that now, mind you. But so I at least didn't get the bat knocked. Like then back in the day, all I would stand there going, please walk me, 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 please walk me. And he occasionally would, but when he threw a fastball down the middle, you had no chance. And then he hit a ball 9,000 miles. And so, and he was a great high school player. Jeff was a great high school player. Not as good of a hitter, but he's a great high school pitcher. So I equate it to like that high school guy or that little league guy that is the best guy ever, that hits 3 home runs, strikes out 15, and pitches 7 shutout innings, maybe even a one-hitter, and somebody got a bunt single, right? That's what that was. Am I wrong? That's literally what that was.
Actually, it might be more impressive than Jeff's performance, which Correct. I know Jeff was a legend,
Correct.
but.
Correct. So how about this? So I decided to figure out what is comparative. There's nothing in baseball. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher before he was a great hitter, and then he was a great hitter and he didn't pitch. So he never did it really at the same time. So you can't even do the Babe Ruth comparison like, well, Babe Ruth won 21 games one year, 19 games one year, had a 192 ERA. Right, but he didn't hit. He didn't do it at the same time. Shohei's doing it at the same time. So I decided, I'm like, I got to figure out what's a comparative to that. So we had basketball practice Saturday morning. We're all talking about Shohei, and I said, only thing I think of is Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points. And one guy literally turns to me and goes, allegedly. Like, what do you mean allegedly, dude? He goes, no one has film of it. I go, oh my gosh, dude, it's on Basketball Reference. You can argue it, but sure, if that's your point, that's your point. So so the only person that popped in my mind, and I got to give myself credit for this, I do, was Sammy Ball in football. Do you know who Sammy Ball is? You've ever heard of Sammy Ball?
No.
You have. Okay. Sammy Ball in football. Back in 1943, I believe, when I looked it up, because he's the only one that popped in my head. Sammy Ball in 1943 once threw 4 touchdowns in a game and recorded 4 interceptions on defense in the same game, and he was a great punter.
But like, he would have had to. I mean, I'm sure they did not have the Super Bowl back when he played.
No, the Super Bowl was 1966. This is like 9 gazillion. This was during the war too, dude, where he's playing against Fred the Milkman and Joe the Postman. I mean, I get it, but he still did it.
But for it to even be remotely equivalent, he would have had to do exactly what you just said in like the AFC Championship game or something.
That's
what's even more insane about it.
That's actually a fair point, because the man did it on a high stage. That's a fair point. Rick, that's the thing. You can't put this in comparison to anything. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, you struck out 10 in 6 shutout innings and whacked 3 home runs, one longer than the next. It's insane.
With the highest leverage, like the most important moment, all of that stuff that we try to assess, all the mental things too. When we talk about sports and greats and their rankings all time, he had all of that with it when he did it, and it's incredible,
dude. I'm significantly older. My teens were in the late 70s, and I remember Reggie Jackson's 3 home run performance like it was yesterday. It's like, this is the greatest performance ever. You just hit 3 home runs in a World Series. My gosh, sure. And Shohei just hit 3 home runs. And oh, by the way, pitched 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts in the same game. That's insane. It's like if I said, and Tom Seaver was a good hitting pitcher. Tom Seaver went and pitched a 2-hitter and struck out 13 and hit a home run. I'd go, damn, that's the greatest performance I've ever watched in my lifetime.
And Skinny,
I'll give you one. Hang on, I'll give you one. Rick Wise. Kids, go look this up. Rick Wise, I believe against the Reds. Look up Rick Wise. I believe against the Reds in 1970.
No hitter and 2 home runs.
That's it. Thank you.
June 23rd, 1971.
I think against the Reds. Is that right? Maybe not.
Rick Wise, 9 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 4 at bats. He had 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Phillies won 4-0.
Against,
but it does not say who it was against. It was against the Reds. It was against the Reds.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so.
They're 32 and 39.
I tried to provide you as much stupid information that's still parked in my head, and there it was. That's close, but it's not even. The funny is, that's close. It's not close enough.
But Skinny, the crazier thing is when you watched it, like the strikeouts aren't guys watching third strikes. No. There are these nasty breaking balls and sharp biting cutters and like all this. And then the home runs are 460 something feet out of the stadium with the most exit velocity we've ever seen. He looks like he was made in a lab. That's all there is to it.
Because again, that is literally, and I'm not even sure I played against the dude in Little League that did that. Even Jeff Hutchinson.
Do you remember the last time Jeff Hutchinson came up on this podcast?
I don't. I'm sure he came up at some point.
He did. I know exactly when it was too. Because he played for HUD AC or Ludlow AC?
He played at Lloyd High School, but he played for Johnny's Car Wash.
Johnny's Car Wash. Okay. Do you remember the time that Ellie stole second, stole third, and then as they're throwing it back to the pitcher, he then just decided to run home?
Yep.
When we were breaking down that clip, you brought up Jeff Hutchinson that time too.
There it is. There's my
Shout out to Jeff Hutchinson. I hope he listens one day.
I hope he does too.
All right. Inspired by Skinny's trip to Milwaukee with the Bengals media contingent, rank these companions at the bar.
Oh boy.
IPA snob guy. Tells everybody he loves them after he gets drunk guy.
I'm kind of that guy.
The argumentative guy who digs in on every conversation after a few drinks.
I'm kind of that guy too.
The let's get shots guy.
No, I'm not that guy.
The always bitching guy, poor service, too loud, too crowded, etc.
I'm never that guy.
And the fantasy football guy.
Yeah, so I'll rank the always bitching guy last. He's
the worst. I agree. Worst energy is people who bitch.
Fantasy football guy, I can read the room. Like if I can talk fantasy football with you for whatever reason, I can. And if I realize you don't play and don't care, I can shut that conversation down fast.
That's why I like you.
Yeah, like I don't need to do that with you. If you want to talk about it, I like it. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm in 2 leagues. I can do that with you all day. I didn't write these down. Give me the next groupings.
IPA snob guy.
Yeah,
Tell everybody loves them guy. An argumentative guy.
Yeah, I like argumentative guy because that's usually me. So IPA snob guy, is it like he won't drink anything but an IPA and makes fun of you when you drink a Bud Light guy? Is that him?
That's the way I take it, or at least the guy who's like, oh, this bar has a terrible selection. I only like such and such. It's like, buddy, shut up and drink your Miller Lite.
Yeah, he's next on the list for me. I mean, like, dude, just you do you. You get your drink. I'll get mine. I don't care what you drink, and you shouldn't care what I drink. I mean, right?
Yes.
Like, here's the thing, buddy. At the end of the night, I'm drinking 6 double Jamesons and keep up, buddy. You can't keep up. So have fun with that. And if I give you one, you won't be able to keep up. I've done that before. Somebody like, here, drink this. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I've been drinking this for like 2 hours now. You want to give me the beer snob guy? And I don't have, my group's a good group, as you know the group.
Yeah.
Group.
Yeah.
But occasionally, like, I'll have to throw them in like, dude, drink one of these just because occasionally like, man, I don't want beer anymore. Because you do get filled up on beer. That's the thing. I can do beer to a point, like even with light beer, I'm like, I'm just beered out. I got to have something different. It's the end of the night. I'm not going anywhere. All right, so that guy's there. So we got argumentative guy and hug you guy.
Yeah, and let's get shots guy.
No, let's get shot guy is below IPA guy.
It annoys me too when the guy's like, we all got to do shots. It's like, no, we don't. Just go. You drink it. You're fine.
Correct. You do your Jaeger. I don't want your Jaeger. I don't want your Rumpelmints. I don't want any of that crap.
I don't need a lemon drop.
Correct. Yes. Good point.
I'm good.
Because that's where you get sick. You start drinking that crap. That's where you get sick. Like I got my routine, man. It's like I'm beer to a point, double Jameson to a point, go back to bed. I wake up 6 hours later. I'm good to go.
I'm all
set.
If
you gave me like the lemon drop stuff and that crap, the sugary sweet, no, I'm good. So I'm an argumentative guy and overly happy, hug you around the neck guy. Is that where I'm at?
Yep.
So one of my best friends, he is clearly hugging you around the neck guy. And it's annoying, but he's a good dude. I like him. But it's like, bro, just, we're not going to make out tonight. I like you, but we're not going to.
I feel like there are 2 versions of that person, though.
Yeah.
There's the person who either like wants to compliment you and be like, dude,
you're so good at what you do.
Things like that, which I can deal with that easier if they're just like talking to you. Or there's the guy who like has to be right in your face and hugging you and like close talking. That I can't deal with. It's like give me personal space.
And if one of my boys who listens to this, he knows it's him. He knows it's him. Because it's him. I'm like, bro, get out of my freaking face. I love you.
That's the only thing I can't try. Don't touch me while you do it.
Go back out and do the mosh pit stuff and be good on the dance floor. I'm just going to stay here by the bar. You do you. And I do it. I'll like spin him out and go, and you'll watch him. He'll spin out and there he'll go. You're like, okay, man. I kind of like argumentative guy because.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think this is terrible. I think I'm a pretty smart guy. Even when I'm drunk, I think that I can make good points. I can argue you down without shouting at you, without telling you I'm going to pull out a gun and shoot you in the face like I think the rest of America is today. Like, you're an idiot, bang. No, I like argumentative conversation. I think argumentative conversation is great. Yes. Like, so we had one, and I wish I could out this cat, but I can't do it. In Milwaukee. So it's one of the people I went with, and a few people want to figure out and go back at the podcast and figure out who I was with in Milwaukee. He said, Keanu Reeves is the best actor of our lifetime. And literally, the 5 of us, the other 5 went, you are an idiot. Here are the other best. And we just started naming names. I'll give him credit. He finally went, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Tell James he has bad taste in actors.
I'm not.
You don't out anybody, but tell James Rapidi he does not know acting.
I'm not naming names. And so the funny part was this person came back on the following whatever time we were back with the Bengals, maybe that Monday, and he said, man, that was a bad take on my part.
That's all time. But here's the problem. That can only come from someone of a certain age. Like you're not over a certain age and say that. So like it kind of, you can self-deduce that one, I think.
But it was fun because he didn't take offense. Like, I think he realized when we all just jumped him and went, this guy and this guy and this guy. And he was like, yeah.
Yeah. When you get it from 5 different directions and they've all got counter arguments that are valid, it's, you lost, I think.
Yeah. And I appreciate that he actually went, I'm good. You're right. I'm going to back down from this argument. I can't tell you it was James. I don't know. I'm not going to give you the name.
Yeah. But someone in Milwaukee.
From SI.com. Someone.
This totally gave away which ones we are, because both of us are like, oh yeah, the argumentative guy's okay. He's fine. Sure. No issues with him.
Dude, you remember back in the day when you started producing for me and we would talk basketball and we would argue till the day was like, we'd have pitchers of beer and just argue, and you were a snot-nosed kid and I'm some stupid old man who didn't know you well, and we would just go back and forth. No, this is the way you run this flare side. This is the way you do it. It was great. I loved it.
We agreed on more. The funny thing is you'd be arguing with like Steve Moeller or someone else out in Dickman's, and I'd be like, actually, I agree.
No. But usually most argumentative people, even with a little buzz on, usually get to the point of, all right, I'm rational enough to realize I'm probably wrong. I'll give in.
Yes.
Except I will rarely give in, but neither.
Not us, but some rational people will.
Some rational people will.
All right. That's it. We're good. We're at an hour and 25 minutes. We don't need anything else.
That was good stuff. I appreciate it. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back next week. For Rick Broering, I'm Richard Skinner. It's been the Skinny Podcast, the weekly potpourri edition, presented by Blake, the Attorney Maisler.